Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review a Parnsrpe homage to a Patek Nautilus. Let's start out with the wrist check. I'm wearing this Baugella 22806 homage to a Rolex Explorer 2. And Greg was wearing my Skimmy 1717. Grogu said that Bosk got a job at a ranch of giant insects at a hot and nasty pass between Beggar's Canyon and Anchorhead on Tatooine. He said his job is to make sure to round up ones that wander off to start new colonies. He tracked down a couple of head, and when he was rounding them up, the sheriff of Anchorhead asked if they belonged to him. He pointed towards the ranch and said, "Just ask hands in that dower pass. These are the strays of our hives." Alright, let's take a look at the watch. The watch did not come in a box. Can you believe that? The last Parnsrpe I had did come in a box, and it was very similar to a Pagani design box. But yeah, I paid over $70 for this watch, and for it not to come in a box with an unsigned warranty card, polishing cloth, siding tool, all that stuff, nope, just came with the watch. This is the second Parnsrpe on my channel. For some reason, there is no reference number etched into the watch, nor can I find one listed in the AliExpress ad. Typically, when I see Parnsrpe watches on AliExpress, they seem to be a step below Pagani design, but not so much this referenceless Nautilus homage. There appears to be 4 colorways: black, blue, red, and Tiffany blue. I couldn't find a green anywhere. I chose the blue because I prefer blue plus. I wanted to be able to compare it with my blue Pagani design. The watch is 38.2 millimeters if you measure at the flats of the bezel, but it's 43.3 millimeters if you measure from this edge of the case to the crown guards. 44.3 millimeters lug to lug, and it's only 11 millimeters thick, which is pretty thin for an automatic. And the lug width doesn't apply because it's an integrated bracelet, but it's 24.2 millimeters at the end links. And it weighs 145 grams on the supply bracelet with 2 links removed. Then if you look at the bezel, we have the coarse brushwork of your typical Nautilus style watch, and polished sides. And the whole point of a Nautilus style is this is supposed to look like a porthole. And then if you look at the dial, we have a teak dial with a pretty deep blue. And then we have the Parnsrpe name at top. I don't, not the logo. I never usually see the Parnsrpe logo on the actual watch because it's not the prettiest logo in the world. And then it says automatic on the bottom. And then we have applied indices, and they're all loomed with a double baton at the top. And then we have minute markers on the chapter ring. Then we have fence post hands, and they're loomed, and the second hand is not loomed. And then we have a date at the 3 with a border and no cyclops. We have a screw down crown that is unsigned, and this crown helps provide 50 meters water resistance. Usually if you only have 50 meters, you really don't need a screw down crown because you're not going to be swimming with it or doing any water activities, usually if it's only 50 meters. So screw down really wasn't necessary. Then we have a flat sapphire crystal, and I don't know if there's AR coating or not, but it does a pretty good job of not reflecting. I mean, of course it reflects some, especially when you're straight on the light, but it's not bad. I've seen worse. Then the case is solid stainless steel. It's brushed up top, polished, brushed on the sides, but it has a chamfered edge that's polished. And then it has this little thing that sticks out that's polished. And the crown guards here, this little thing here is polished. We have a display case back. This display case back is glass, not sapphire. This is not a sapphire sandwich. Of course, the main point of sapphire is it doesn't scratch very easy, and you're not too concerned about your display case back getting scratched because it's against your skin, so you're not going to be bumping up against sharp things. Then it's a screw down case back, and I don't really see any writing on it. Usually it will give the model number and all that, but this doesn't have a model number. Then underneath the case back is the NH35 movement. This time it is actually an NH35. When I did the Pagani Design Nautilus homage, I screwed up and said it was an NH35 when it was really a seagull. But this one you can see the NH35 written on the rotor, so there's no mistake there. Of course, we all know about the NH35. It's your go-to movement for automatic watches in this price range. It's a 24 joule, 3 hertz movement that hand winds, hacks, and has a bidirectional rotor. And it's usually fairly reliable right off the shelf. So let's put it on the Timegrapher and see. Here it is on the Timegrapher. As you can see, those are some pretty good numbers. -2, -2, -3. So yeah, that's well within specs, and that's very accurate. Unfortunately though, the amplitude's really low. That should be close to 300, preferably over 300. 216, yeah, that's very low. And there's quite a bit of beat error, which is why you see 2 lines on the screen. But still, accuracy is the most important part, and this one is running really good. The bracelet is an integrated H-link, and this is the style most Nautilus homages use. The inner links, though, they're a little bit more rectangular. The real thing, they're a little bit curved. But yeah, it's a nice looking bracelet though. And it's got push pin adjusters, not screw pins. And I had to remove 2 links to fit it on my wrist. And everything went out just fine. The clasp, however, it's a friction clasp, not a push button. And I would really wish that these homage companies would just put in a push button rather than a friction. I know the real thing has the friction clasp, but it would just be preferable. Plus, this little fold over isn't signed, and it just seems to be annoying, just in the way. And I wish it didn't have it. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. As you can see, it wears nice. Sits nice and flat. Has inverted end links, so it really contours to your wrist. And has good wrist presence. It's a nice looking watch. Here we are in the loom room. The last Parnsrpe I reviewed had pretty good hand loom and an awesome loom pip, so I have high hopes for this test. As we speed up the time, we see that unfortunately, even though this is a pretty good watch, the loom is only so-so. I've seen a lot worse, but disappointing nonetheless. What do I like about this watch? Well, it's nice to see an automatic Nautilus homage with an NH35 in it. That seems to be pretty rare. And it's nice and thin for an automatic, 11 millimeters. That's pretty good. And I really like the looks of the watch. It's very nice looking. What are my gripes and groans? This clasp fold over is kind of blah. And do we really need a screw down crown on a 50-meter watch? Either bump it up to 100 or just get rid of the screw down. And a reference number would be nice for review purposes. And this is my first $70 something watch that didn't come in a box. And the disappointing loom compared to my last Parnsrpe. Do I recommend this watch? Yes. If you want a solid still automatic watch with a decent movement, then I don't think you can do anything wrong with this Parnsrpe. Especially if you want one that looks like a Nautilus. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Parnsrpe homage to Paddock Nautilus, and I will be back with another review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.